Hello, welcome back to the channel, you guys. If you guys remember part 1 and 2, we were discussing this N8N double booking agent that I'm using, which is solving the problem of having two clients both respond to a meeting request that I sent them by accident for a meeting time for the exact same time. They both confirm and we got a double booking. This N8N agent is solving that problem for me, where it's watching my Gmail account, seeing if I ever send a request to a client for a meeting time. It's automatically creating a placeholder in my calendar for that particular event, and then it's waiting for a response from the client. If the client responds and they confirm, it forwards that email invite to them. If they deny, it deletes that placeholder from my calendar. Okay, so this helps with just general booking, making sure your calendar is staying up to date with emails that you send to client for requested meeting times. This solves that problem for you. So there have been a number of updates from the first part and second part until today. N8N has brought in some new features that are absolutely mind-blowing, super easy to use, super helpful. So if we recall from the first two videos, I was saving a lot of data and information to a Google Sheet document. The meeting invites, the recipients, the meeting requested date and time, and other information about that meeting. I was saving that into a Google Sheet. Well, N8N has just introduced a new feature called data tables. These data tables allow you to store data natively inside of the N8N workflow itself. So if you need to save information, reference that information later, you do that all under the umbrella of N8N, as opposed to having to go to an external database like Google Sheets or an actual SQL server or an actual database somewhere else. This keeps everything nice and easy to use. For smaller applications, I don't know the limits of it or how much you're going to end up paying if you're loading this thing with a bunch of data. That is definitely something to explore, but I want to show you guys kind of the updates that I'm making here using these new data tables. So in these data tables, essentially what you're doing is setting up a blank table of what information that you want to store about your particular workflow. Okay, so if you guys recall, I was sending this information, the meeting calendar event, into a Google Sheet document, and then in the catch receive emails, which is watching for a response, I was fetching that information from Google Sheets and then bringing that back into here. Okay, so we're replacing the Google Sheet logic with this new data table logic here. Okay, so let's go back. We're going to send an email to a client. So we're going to say, hey, ZigTech client 1. We're going to say meeting time request, Zach, or we'll say client. Can you meet 1 p.m. can you meet 10/1/2025, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time? And we will hit send. We'll go over to the client email here just to see that they received that email. Okay, so that meeting request email has been sent. Let's go ahead and execute our first 5 nodes here. So essentially it's going to go grab that email, pass it into an OpenAI chat, reformat it through these code functions, and then ultimately create a calendar invite on my calendar. So if we go look at here, we can see placeholder with ZigTech client 1. It is currently a placeholder because they have not responded yet. So now, instead of going up to send the data to our Gmail, we're going to send it into our new data tables feature that N8N offers. So we'll go ahead and hit run. So now if we go open up our data table here and we hit refresh, we can see that new record has come in, okay? So our recipient is ZigTech client 1. Our proposed meeting date was 10/1. We can see response from the client flag is no. Our time zone. And then we have the message body, when it was created, when it was updated, our message ID, has followed up, no, which gets into our next point at the end of this video we'll discuss. Okay, so our data is flowing into our data tables here. Now, from the client side, we'll go ahead and respond, and we'll just say, yes, that works for me. We'll send that response back to the agent, or me rather. Okay, so we can see that I have gotten that response from the client. So if I come back to my agent here and I run the catch receives workflow, I hit run, it's going to fetch from our data table. This used to be a Google Sheet node here rather, where it was fetching the data from the Google Sheet. It is no longer fetching that data, it's fetching it from our new data table feature here. We've got a confirmation from the client, so it's going to go ahead and forward that meeting invite to the client. So if we go look back here at our client side email, we should see that come through, and yes, we did. We see here October 1st, confirmed meeting with ZigTech Client 1. If we go back to the agent side, or me, we can see it also says confirmed meeting with ZigTech Client. Okay, and then now we're going to pass that confirmation email into our data table in our update table confirmed node here. We can see here now, if we refresh our table, and we can see here, response from client flag has confirmed. So this email, or this record, has went from the client response flag to no to confirmed now, because we got a confirmation email from the client. Okay, so data tables have been introduced, they have been implemented, so we can go ahead and remove all of our Google Sheet information, because we no longer are going to be utilizing Google Sheets, and we're going to be utilizing this cool new data tables features in N8N. Now, the next step into our workflow is we want to have a follow-up cadence. So if the client has not responded to our email within, we could say 24 hours, this can be completely variable, and also dependent on when the meeting is scheduled for, we can create rules. So right now it's set to say, if the client hasn't responded within 24 hours of that first email that I sent, it's going to follow up with them and say, hey, just confirming, or sorry, something along the lines of, hey, just wanted to follow up on this meeting time. If this time works for you, please let me know. That email will automatically be sent to the client if it's been 24 hours with no response from the client yet. And also check to make sure that the meeting invite placeholder is still in the future, right? So we don't want the workflow to execute if that meeting time has already passed, right? Because we don't want to follow up with them if that meeting time was like yesterday or today, a couple hours ago. So we only wanted to follow up with them, one, if they haven't responded to our email request in 24 hours, or two, if the meeting time is still in the future from today's date. So the follow-up is going to do that. In the next section, we also want to check for expired meeting requests. So what we don't want is like an hour. So we want to create a parameter, or basically a time limit for the client to get back to us. So if it's an hour before the meeting time, or 2 hours, or 5 hours, it could be completely whatever you want it to be. We want to send that client a message and say, hey, this time is no longer available for us. Let's reschedule to find another time, or something like that. So it's going to check for upcoming placeholder meetings that are maybe 2 hours or 3 hours away, delete those, and send a message to the client and say, hey, this time no longer works for us. We'll have to find another time to investigate, another time to meet. So that's the next step. But if you haven't checked out these new N8N data tables yet, I'd highly recommend you to do so. It's so easy to use them. You can add your columns, you can add your rows, you identify them. Inside of your nodes, it's extremely easy to identify what you want to do. So it basically looks at your table that you're looking at. My table is called email information. It pulls in all of the fields from that table, and then you just simply drag and drop from whatever node of information that you want to store in that table. You just drag and drop those nodes, or values rather, here. You just drag and drop them. It's so easy. It's easy to read from them. It's easy to update them. It's easy to insert new records. So highly, highly recommend checking those out. So in the next video, we should see this follow-up piece completed, and we'll also see this check for expired meeting time request functions complete. And then we're going to start building in some very, very nuanced pieces to this. So for example, in the response, if the client comes back and says, no, this time doesn't work for me, I'm available this time, and this time, how do we want the N8N agent to manage that? Do we want it to go look at our calendar and check if the times that the client has requested, if we're available for that time? And if so, go ahead and create that Google Calendar event and then forward it to the client. That is one option there. There's lots of different things here, so we'll get into those in the next video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Please smash that subscribe button. Thank you.